Today we'll be interviewing Prince Clemens von Metternich, the head of the Congress of Vienna and father of modern conservatism, and who was an influential political leader in the 19th century. He was born on May 15, 1773, in Koblenz, Austria, and attended the University of Strasbourg for 2 years before the French Revolution cut it short. He was a man who was extremely interested in France and oftentimes meddled with Austrian affairs with the region, at one point even befriending Napoleon himself and becoming the ambassador to Paris. In Napoleon's ensuing war with Russia, Metternich managed to keep his home country neutral from both sides, despite the fact that there were influences from both countries entrenching themselves within Austria. Soon after Napoleon's defeat, he became the head of the Congress of Vienna. To promote his initiatives, he restored the Bourbons in France, created a federation of Germanic states, created 9 states in Italy, and realigned the borders of several existing countries. This was believed to help to keep the balance of power in Europe. After a series of revolts in Italy, Metternich enacted his principle of intervention, which stated that countries could interfere with other countries in revolution so long as it was needed to maintain the balance of power in Europe. In Central Europe, liberalists from the Burschenfraschen attempted to break down conservative power, but Metternich flexed his might by destroying their rebellion. Much of his hate for these kind of ideas came from revolts like this, which also threatened the prosperity of his home country, Austria. Now, let's go see the interview that I had with him in heaven. Thank you for taking this time to,
Of course, thank you for interviewing me. I appreciate it.
Okay. When you look back on Earth now and you see how conservatism have evolved through the years, are you proud of the way it's happened, or do they still uphold your original values?
Oh, I'm completely satisfied. I feel like I did a really good job in promoting conservatism and spreading it and also evolving it. I'm extremely happy with how it is now. I've always been happy with how it's been. And because of this, I've accomplished all the goals that I've set out to do.
Okay. During the French Revolution, you were actually considered almost an ally and a friend of Napoleon. Why do you just suddenly turn against his regime as soon as that?
Well, he was becoming a threat to the Austrian power. What happened to him in Russia, I couldn't take, because after that, he wanted to control Austria, and he always wanted to control Austria. And so this was becoming a threat to my goal. So I really had to let him go, because also my alliance as well, we really just disliked what the French had been doing and also their power. So I needed to let him go because of the many things that I listed, and also just because, he was really just becoming a threat to me as well.
Okay, now, Napoleon was a monarch, which was something that you agree with. You agree
Yes.
with the monarchy, but at the same time, he was considered what they call an enlightened monarch. He did a civil code where he allowed some freedom of the press, he allowed people to express their artistic and economic views. Do you agree with that, or are you for the strict old definition of monarchy, where the monarch is in charge of everything and everything should be centered on the monarch?
I'm not in favor of the Enlightenment. I believe that all monarchies should be restored back to where they were before the Enlightenment happened. This is a really good view that I have, and because of this, the monarchies, they could keep peace in Europe. And so with the Enlightenment, it was kind of very loose. People could do what they wanted, they set out to have their own goals, and now what I wanted is I wanted control over what these people really could do, because the thing was like that, if you let people do what they want, the whole balance of power will get very screwed up and really scattered throughout it, and so then no one would be happy if someone could go up and say, well, I believe in this, when you can set the balance. This is what you're going to believe in, and this is what's going to make you happy. That just really seems right to me.
Some would say that you really greatly valued your opinion over most other people's, so much so that you sometimes wouldn't listen to them. How do you think this affected the policies you put forth at the Congress?
Well, it affected it in many ways, because I valued my opinions, and I think that I am so much better than everyone else, because I'm so much smarter and I have so much more intellect than anyone else does, that the way I ran the Congress of Vienna and I initiated my policies was the best way they could be run and initiated by far. No one else could do a better job than me, and I knew this is what was best.
Alright. And according to your principle of legitimacy, only powerful monarchs could restore peace in Europe. Why'd you feel this way?
I felt this way because the monarchies could restore all the power that they had in centuries past, and that we all had fear of France disturbing and disrupting the peace between our quadruple alliance, that by restoring these monarchies, we could all work together to form an alliance to isolate France and keep them from disrupting the peace. So I really instituted them for the sake of keeping our countries alive.
Okay. would you say that your affiliation with the Habsburgs, who were kind of into a monarchy in Austria, would you say that had any effect on your decision?
Well, it affected it in many ways because I valued my opinions, and I think that I am so much better than everyone else because I'm so much smarter and I have so much more intellect than anyone else does, that the way I ran the Congress of Vienna and I initiated my policies was the best way they could be run and initiated by far. No one else could do a better job than me, and I knew this is what was best.
And during your time in the Congress of Vienna, you did a lot of things that were meant to kind of shift the balance of power to make sure it all stayed the same, such as your principle of intervention, where where countries could intervene in countries that were going under revolution to kind of restore it. But in this sense, weren't you essentially just giving the power to the countries with the biggest armies, because they could go in and interfere with any other country's politics?
Not at all. I did the intervention so that my alliance of countries, we could overthrow the revolutions that were happening in other countries. Because of this, the other countries could spread, or could really just destroy our peace throughout our nations and our countries. And since we had this alliance, I was saying that only my alliance could do this, because we knew that to do this, that when we would overthrow these revolutions, the peace would be settled, and we could keep the peace throughout the nations.
Okay. Thank you for that interview. That was truly enlightening. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for interviewing. That was
I
terrific.
gotta get back to Earth.
All right, enjoy your flight back.